Welcome to Colorful Journeys of Success. Listen to and watch our fascinating guests as they share colorful stories of success and how they help inspire. Now, here's Claire, the color wheeling lady and our host.
Welcome to Colorful Journey of Success. I'm Claire Mullen, I'm the producer, and I'm so glad that you joined us. Tonight, I'm going to be interviewing a very talented woman. She's amazing, and she's going to talk to you about all the books and the talent that she has here, as you can see on the display. Well, it's my pleasure to welcome Carolyn Donnell. Carolyn,
glad to meet you.
Thank
Claire.
you so much. This has been so wonderful to talk to you, and I love your colors. And actually, that really ties in very much with one of the books that you wrote, right? Deeper
Yes,
Colors.
yes.
Okay, let's have a little introduction about yourself, your background, and share with the audience a little bit of your background.
I moved to the California Bay Area in late 1998. I was working for IBM, but I got laid off, so I decided to go and seek some other things that I'd always been interested in, and I started writing. I joined the California Writers Club, the South Bay branch, and I am now a member of the board and also co-editor for the newsletter. But I started taking some classes and workshops through California, and I started writing, and I've written a number of short stories and poems have been published in anthologies. And
well, we're going to get a lot of that.
Okay.
I want to stay focused on.
My latest novel is Deeper Colors.
Okay. When you were growing up, did you want to be a writer?
Not really. I was a musician growing up.
Oh.
I did a little bit of writing in junior high. I had a story published in a national magazine, and I did a little bit, but it wasn't my big passion. And
well, who inspired you?
I was always an avid reader when I was a kid, though. I spent a lot of time at the library. I practically lived there as second home. So I read everything in the 12 and under section before I was 10. And then I got to sneak upstairs because I was taller than average. So then I could read things. I couldn't check them out, but I could read things and sit and read in the adult section, too. So I was a very avid reader, although I didn't do much writing.
Did a lot of your friends read too? Were they readers
Some
too?
of them did. Some of them did. Some of them did.
When you were growing up, were there like readers clubs at all? Book clubs?
I don't think so. I played in the orchestra and sang in the choir when I was growing up.
Oh
so
my
I
gosh, more talent.
And,
more talent.
I had a few years ago, I broke my arm really badly, so I couldn't play anymore. And that's when I started really getting back into other creative endeavors to try to fill that gap. And so I started writing again and doing a little bit of painting and to kind of fill that void. And,
which we have here. And so you Colorful Journey of Success is all about a person's success stories, but also about who they help succeed. And so it sounds like what you have done is not only you have been very successful in the writing and many of these different talents, but you're helping a lot of other authors, aren't you?
I try to. That's one nice thing about the, well, there's many nice things about the Writers Club, but one of the things that we try to help each other. We have critique groups. I have a critique group that I've been going to for a long time. They're my editors, and that's a group where we try to get together and help each other. It's all different kinds of genres. We have a guy in our critique group who's writing a history of early aviation.
Wow.
We have a lady who's writing her memoirs from growing up in the Ruhr Valley in Germany. We just have all kinds of different needs and different subjects.
So are you helping them?
We all help each other.
succeed?
We all help each other by critiquing each other's works and helping them find places. And then the club tries to have workshops, which I participated in before. I take photographs at the workshop and the monthly meetings for our newsletter and for the website.
When I attended that meeting, I saw you taking a lot of pictures, and that's what kind of like intrigued me. And so that's when I decided I was going to check out your website, and I was just amazed, absolutely amazed. That's exciting to when you see somebody's website and everything that they've. Well, okay, going back to your success. Obviously, your success is that you've won a lot of awards, haven't you?
I've won quite a few little awards for my short stories and my poems, and my latest novel, the first Do you want to do that? My first my first novel was Blood Will Tell. My second novel is Deeper Colors, and last year I wasn't able to go to the San Francisco Writers Conference, but it won first prize in fiction. They have a contest where you submit the first 1,000 words, and I'm looking at the camera. I'm sorry. Where this was selected. The San Francisco Writers Conference is supposed to be a pretty big deal.
Okay, you brought in a certificate, and I think that maybe if the camera can see this. Go ahead and read it.
It says, you have won first prize for fiction at the 2015 San Francisco's Writing Contest, and that's the big conference that they have once a year in February.
Well, tell us about that. That's really successful.
They send out some announcements, and that's another thing that we try to do in the Writers Club is see to it that people are aware of all the contests going around around the Bay Area, and even national contests if they take things from everywhere. We try to keep everybody up to date on where the contests are and the markets that are accepting. And this is one that I'm on the mailing list, and every year when it comes up, I put out the notification to our members. And I entered the contest myself, and my first 1,000 words of Deeper Colors won first prize. And a little bit of money too.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, how did that feel when you were notified that you won?
Oh, it always feels good, you know, because most writers I know get pretty tender about their writing sometimes, and anytime you get an acknowledgement that somebody actually liked something that you did, it makes you feel really good.
Do they send you a certificate, or or just how do they notify you?
Well, first of all, you usually get an email that says congratulations, you've won, and then when the conference is over and everything, then you get a certificate and a check in the mail.
So you mind me asking what the check was for? How much?
I think it was $100.
Okay.
First prize.
But even so. Even so, I think that's wonderful. I've attempted to do some writing myself, and it takes time, doesn't it?
Oh, it takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time.
And then you have to do it over again, and then no matter how many times people read it, you can still sometimes find a little typo or an error, and you think, will this never end? And sometimes it never ends, but it's an ongoing thing, and it just takes a lot of time. Some redos. And finally, at some point in time, though, you just have to let go and publish it and go on to the next book.
Wow, and that's a decision that's
hard.
That's hard.
It's hard to do.
It sounds like it. So, what do you write? Do you write novels? What type of writing?
Well, I've written a little bit of everything. You know, mostly fiction and some poetry. I have some children's books, which have also won little prizes, but I don't have an illustrator for yet, so they haven't been published. I wanted my grandchildren to illustrate some of them because they're in it, but that didn't work out. So, you know,
that really would be exciting to be able to say, my grandmother wrote this book about me. I think that would be really exciting.
And they're both artists; they could do it. They just don't have time in their busy schedules. But that's one project I look forward to finishing sometime in this lifetime.
Maybe you could do that maybe as a Christmas gift. Maybe.
Well, they've already read the stories. They have copies of the stories. I just don't have illustrations, and you can't do a children's book without illustrations, so that's a big part of it. I also want to do a poetry chapbook at some point in time, but getting around to doing these things is sometimes, well, you know, finishing something, and then you have to do the editing, and I've done my own covers, my own cover designs. That takes a lot of time, and then there's marketing.
So you're an artist. You're. I think you're everything.
Except a good marketer. Marketing is a bear, but
no, I guess that's if you're an artist, it's hard to sell your talent. Is that typical?
I know a couple of people who are writers and good marketers both, but I think that sometimes it's hard to find a person that can do all of it really well. You really need help.
So what about taking either classes, special classes for the marketing?
There's a bunch of online classes and webinars, and occasionally we as a matter of fact, South Bay Writers is looking for someone to come and give us a workshop on social media right now. So If you know anybody, let me know. Sorry.
Well, I have interviewed people that have sold. Yeah, that would be helpful. I'd be happy to contact people.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a different type of a show.
And I finally I despaired on finding an agent and a publisher, especially in this day and age when publishers are all merging and going away. So I just went out on CreateSpace, and CreateSpace has a lot of helps and tutorials where you can do it yourself, and I did a lot of it myself, and I published it myself. So I'm self-published, POD.
Okay, now we had a very interesting conversation earlier today about how do you sell, whether when you is it published, and to try and get published, or share with our audience.
Well, through CreateSpace, you go directly with Amazon. I also went through a company called Smashwords, where they you have a very intricate to-do list. But when you get through, and if you get through what they call their meat grinder, then they put it out in all the different formats: the Kindle, the ebook, the Mobi, the Kobo, I think it's called. So you end up on Barnes & Noble website, on the Kobo website, several others, and they do all that for you. So I've done a lot of that. So the books are out there in several different places. But you have to order it online. The bookstores don't really like a print on demand these days, so it makes it hard.
Well, I'm sure that well, we've been talking about a lot about books, but tell you the truth, let's just talk a little bit about your art though now.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking at just I went online again.
Did you?
And I saw
to find Art America? Good.
Yeah, you have an amazing amount of artwork on your website.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, well, a little bit. You're being very modest, very, very modest. And what would you say to people in the audience that would like to be that?
Just keep trying.
Okay.
It helped the artwork. I just accidentally, through a couple of my writer friends, landed in an art class where the method that the teacher taught art was different from what I'd been to before. It was called Paint Along, and he painted the picture from scratch, and we all followed along with him, and that worked. Well, I mean, it worked. So to try to find a good class to get started and a good teacher, and to try different forms of art. If one thing doesn't work, like I'm terrible with watercolors, but these are acrylics. There's different forms of art, and you might be terrible at some of them, but you find one that you just feel in sync with, I guess, and just keep trying and keep looking, and don't give up. Same thing with writing, just don't give up, keep doing it.
Well, let's go back to the books, though. We didn't really get into what book would you like to talk about, to share?
Either one of them. What do you think?
Okay, let's talk about Blood Will Tell.
Okay.
Don't move it.
All right, all right. No. This guy right here. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
They know which one to go to.
Yeah, they've got it. Okay. The story. What was your inspiration?
Well, I was adopted when I was a little girl, and I grew up with an adopted family. But in the 90s, I found my birth mother and a whole bunch of relatives on her side of the family. So I started thinking about DNA and genetics, and what did genetics tell us, and the difference between who you think you're related to and who you think you are, and genetically you might be something else, And so this guy, it started out as a fairly simple story, but it ended up getting all tangled with people. You thought you were related to somebody, and then you find out through DNA that you're not related to them, and then all the ramifications thereof. And there's a mystery story in there. The guy, the villain, needs a certain, he has a very rare DNA type, and he can't find it anywhere, and he finally finds somebody, and who he really didn't know matched him. And then there's the ensuing mystery and the adventure and the, trying to extricate the situation. But
so was there a happy ending?
Yeah, I had to have a happy ending, the original book didn't have the best of, it it was more realistic, I thought. But everybody, no, you got to have a happy ending. So yeah, it has a happy ending, sort of. But it all works out in the end. You know, life works out one way or the other in the end, and yeah, it has a happy ending.
That's, you know, I really never thought about the writing and how do you change it to actually say, that's how the happy ending. How about humor? Do you put in, some humor into it?
Not much humor in Blood Will Tell.
Okay, it doesn't sound like
No, I don't think there's any humor in there at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a very fascinating novel. And let's talk about your other novel.
Deeper Colors.
Deeper Colors. And the colors you're wearing today are just absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. But it's about an orphan, again, artist. So there are your colors. She's an artist, and she gets a letter from her mentor, who she finds out has just passed away, and he's left her a little bit of money and a ticket to an art tour in France. And so she goes to France. She runs across this painting that brings out all kinds of feelings that she doesn't understand. And in chasing down and learning more about the painter, who was a woman painter during the French Revolution days in central France, and in chasing down the history of this woman and finding all these things, she finds out things about herself. And of course, she meets the handsome Frenchman. You know, you got to have a handsome Frenchman, I guess. You know, and just finds out all kinds of things about herself that she never knew, and ends up with Deeper Colors. Learns the secrets of the artist as far as her painting is concerned and her deeper colors, but she also deepens her own internal self too, with everything that she discovers.
So it sounds like a lot of passion and. Yeah.
Well, a little bit of my painting techniques and frustrations are in there too, but I'm not the painter that these guys are, but I have some of my own personal experiences and frustrations with painting and trying to find the right color and the right stroke and kicking the easel and having the canvas fall off on the floor. There's there's some of that, some of me in the artist. I wish there were more of me in that particular artist, but it's kind of my you know, showing what that artist would like to become. And she becomes a better artist in the end.
Well, we live in a world of color anyway, and I think sometimes people don't really appreciate the color that surround us. And I think that I love the colors that you're wearing and the sets. And so what else do you want to talk about? Oh, anthologies. Yes, you're also we see a lot of books, and the audience can see, wow, how many anthologies have you actually written or been in?
I've been in about 9.
About 9?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And of course I see the award.
Those are some of the awards, yes. What's the name of it? San Mateo, it's a very long name, San Mateo County Fair. And they have a literary arts stage down. It's not just an art show or a quilt show or a craft show. They also have literary arts, and they have workshops all week long. And you can go, and they send out an email again, and they talk about it's a contest, and every year they have more categories. They had audiobook categories this year.
Okay.
And so they had a lot of interesting categories, and you have a lot of different categories. And they do allow you, if it's been published elsewhere, you can still enter these contests. A lot of contests, they want only unpublished, and you know.
So is this free? Or is this
it costs a little bit.
No, is it available to anyone that wants to?
Yes. You don't even have to live here. You can do it online, all online.
Oh, okay.
So every year in San Mateo, they have the county fair in June, and around May is the deadline for submitting. And they have prizes for each category, first, second, and third. And then then they publish all of those in the anthology.
Wow.
So I've won a few of those things here and there.
Oh my! You have a very interesting life, amazing life. So, do you have any particular anthology that you'd like to share? talk about?
Well, this is the latest one that's sitting over there with the fireworks on it. And
okay.
This particular one, they had...
What is the title of the...
Carry the Light.
Carry the Light.
And it's volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this particular one is interesting because they had so many entries that they couldn't publish anything except the winners. So...
Oh.
So...
And of course, you're a winner.
I want one of my stories won. I don't have a lot of stories left over that haven't already been published. So, but yeah, I have one story in there that won a prize.
And are there anthologies for poetry?
We haven't had. There are anthologies out there, like Redwood Writers branch of the California Writers Club puts out a poetry anthology every other year, and I wish our branch would do that because there's poets in our. We could fill it up pretty quickly.
That sounds good. And so what's it about? What is that particular?
The poetry? Well, I don't know. The Redwood Writers, they have, and also I think the San Francisco Peninsula Writers Club, also they have, every year they have anthologies. Sometimes it's poetry, sometimes it's fiction. And they have usually have a theme. Every year they have a theme, whether it's about, trying to think of the name of it. I can't think of the name of it. They call it the Fault Zone.
The Fault Zone?
The Fault Zone. And it's each year is a different type of theme. And if you have a story or a poem that goes with the theme, then you enter it. And if they like it, they publish it. And there you are.
And there you are.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
Is there like first, second, and third place?
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, you are. So say what? Maybe 15. 20 years from now, will you still be writing?
If I'm still here.
Oh, of course you'll be here. Of course you'll be here.
Sure.
Yeah. Is there anything that you haven't read?
Well, there's a lot of things that are coming out now that I haven't.
I mean, no, let me put it this way.
Right.
Is there any particular type of writing that you have that you'd still like to compete in?
I've written several plays. That never got produced because our class fell away. There used
so
to
you're
be,
a playwright too?
Well,
kind of. Well,
unproduced playwright so far.
Well, you never know. Yeah. Maybe that's where. Hey, maybe that would be the 15, 20 years from now.
Okay.
You'll be
a playwright too.
Yeah, maybe even before then. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah. So, you know, we've talked a lot about. Is there anything you'd like to share? Really, all the people listening and viewing this show, what message would you give to them?
I don't know. You have to follow your heart, or else you'll end up with a lot of regrets later on in life.
Okay.
So follow your heart. If you've got something that you feel needs to be written, don't listen to people who say, "Oh, you shouldn't" or "You can't." Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just keep writing.
Just keep doing it. Just keep painting if that's where your heart is. Keep singing if that's where your heart is.
That's a great message.
Yeah, just keep doing it.
Those are great messages. And what about when you are writing? Do you have music in the background?
Sometimes. Sometimes I have the TV running in the background, but that's more to drown the outside noises than anything else.
So, advice last night. What's advice you want to give to the writers out there?
Well, like I said, don't ever think that what you want to say is not important, and don't ever say that what you want to say is silly or non-productive. Just go ahead and do it, and find friends and groups to help you get it edited and to help you get it formed into the best shape possible, and then just publish it.
It sounds like from what you're saying is that just you have to be involved with other writers.
There are times when being involved with other writers is critical, and there are times when you need to be by yourself. But yes, the writers groups have been invaluable to me, the ones that I belong to over the years. Invaluable.
Yes, I think that what you're saying is it's important to just get the feedbacks That's very, very important. Well, we don't have any more time left, and Carolyn, it's been a pleasure. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful. You're so encouraging. And
well, I think that I want you to be really, really encouraged to other writers. So anyway, listen, thank you so much for joining Colorful Journey of Success. Hasn't it been wonderful? Isn't she? She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. So, you know, from what I hear, if you want to write, just keep writing. Just keep writing, or painting, or reading. And reading really helps a lot.
Stephen King says if you're going to write, you have to read.
Yeah,
you have to read a lot.
Good point. Okay. I think, again, thank you so much for joining Colorful Journey of Success. If you'd like to be interviewed, I'd like to talk with you. So, best of luck to you as a writer, as an artist, anything that you want to do. Bring out your talents. Bring out your talents and show the world. And the colors were inspired. So thank you so very, very much. My name is Claire Mullen. Colorful Journey of Success. Best success to you. Bye for now.